real sin, the only sin, if you want to call it that, is believing that there was anything out there that you needed to get, that there was any doing to get, that there was anything out there that was going to give you permission to validate yourself as all that you are. I thank you for co-creating this moment here with me on the Ministry of Assumption, absolute manifestation from a non-dual perspective, experiential commentary on principles of self-liberation. I am your host, Lucien St. James. I am a divine embodiment coach, and the only sin was you acquiescing to the illusory powers of 3D appearance and thinking that there was something to draw to myself, draw to yourself. You know, everybody shits on the law of attraction movie, The Secret, nowadays, which I think is blaspheming because that's how most of us came into this space. But I do understand that some of the contents can be misleading if you don't understand that they're operating outside of a context, or they're operating inside of a context that does not belong to the idea that I need to bring something to me, but rather what I am, I will see the resonance of. And I guess it just didn't exactly word it that way, like Bob Proctor talked about in the beginning of it. I don't know how electricity works, but it just does. So you just got to think about stuff. I think it got taken out of context, but there's nothing that you need to bring to you. Like, you don't need to like vibrate correctly. Now, I do talk about alignment, because when I talk about alignment, I mean quite literally, okay, like if you have something here and you have something there, then those two things are out of alignment. It's not about like alignment, something I need to achieve. You know, or Joe Dispenza talks about like heart-brain coherence. I mean, it's not about like needing to fix yourself. But if we talk about alignment, if what you want to see in your life is beauty, love, and abundance, yet your thought space, your emotional field frequency, your state of I am, and how you understand yourself and what you believe to be true is lack, is lovelessness, is pain, is striving, is efforting, then those two things are out of alignment. But you are creating the experience of all of it. It's just remembering that. I'm not telling you ever. I'm always saying, ministry mantra, I don't need to teach you to manifest. Nobody needs to teach you to manifest. You are a manifestation. Manifestation is happening all of the time. What we are talking about here on this channel and with other teachers is how to come back home to the space of self as the origin point of all that you see, as an individualized expression of God, and God just being the all that is. You're an individualized expression of that, because everything that comes forth out of God has the whole of God within it. And that is you, which means you then are the creator of experience in your reality. How do you receive the experiences that you are participating in, and what do you assign as the truth of yourself, of what you see, and of what you live on a consistent basis? Because it is as simple as a decision. I am liked, I am loved, I am cherished, and everybody's overjoyed to see me because I'm a brilliant genius that always has something clever to say. I'm funny and I'm confident and just a ball of radiant sunshine. When you decide that all for yourself, and find those like multiple affirmations at once, you know, it could be the I am, that I am confident, I am loved, people enjoy my time, people enjoy spending time with me. When you decide that, then you're not negotiating back and forth with, I said hi to them and they didn't really seem like they wanted to talk to me. Like, that doesn't exist in your world, even if you get a 3D representation, because you're not outside of it. You're not outside of it. And furthermore, if you are seeing, something like that, that's dead anyway. It's dead anyway. It doesn't matter. That's already come to pass. The stuff that's manifest has already come to pass. It's not something that you need to do anything about. So when you decide like everybody loves me, then everything is evidence of that. Then everything is evidence of that. You're seeing only a feedback loop of yourself, what you're transmitting out, and what you're transmitting out is going to be in exact resonance with what you're seeing. And so you decide, I'm going to see something else. I'm going to see that everybody fucking loves me because I'm hot, I'm special, I'm cool, I'm loved, and I'm a great conversationalist, joy to be around. And that's it. That's all I see. That's all I accept. I mean, you make a decision about who you are and you tune your attention to it. When I say tune your attention, you come into alignment with it. Okay, somebody that believes that, they're universally liked and loved. I mean, I'm sure you know people like this. I'm sure you know even maybe people that it's just like, why does everybody like that asshole? It's like, because that asshole believes everybody likes them and lives in a world where that's the case for them. So that person is not negotiating on, okay, they walked out of the break room as soon as I was walking in. Like, what does that mean? Because now you're playing it back and forth. Like, now your reality is kind of glitching. It's like, okay, well, which one are you paying attention to? Are you living within a narrative where you're liked, you're loved, regardless of what you see? That's just the case. That's the decision. That's the timeline that I'm living in. Or am I still kind of trying to weigh myself against what I see, and I'm trying to earn the approval of certain people, and there's that one person that I know doesn't like me, but I never really did anything to them. I mean, I did send them an email that could have been construed a certain way at one point, and if you're really if you're entertaining that type of narrative, you're not then in the narrative like, I made a decision, this is who I am, this is what I pay attention to, this is my positioning as source consciousness, I am the all of everything, and as an individualized expression of that, this is what I decide my role in the world is. This is what I am scripting as with my divine pen of I am. This is what I am authoring to be true for my life. What I author to be true for my life in terms of circumstance or in terms of experience, that's the decision that I'm making, and I'm resting now. It's done. It's easy. If I find myself negotiating, going back and forth with reality, I lasso that attention back up. I return to the space of source, and I unconditionally allow. This is the heaven on earth initiation code, by the way. I'm going to be tweaking that a little bit, but that's the baseline of what we're talking about, because the ministry ideology is that heaven on earth is here now, but it is a matter of tuning your frequency to the fact that the effort is done. The only sin, we started this conversation with, the only sin is believing that it was outside of you, because if you look at the 7 deadly sins, all of them are ideas of separation, gluttony. I need to fill myself with an experience because why? I feel separate from the experience. There's something that food or some type of excess, there's a hole that I feel within myself. And because I want that hole to go away, I'm filling it. Or lust. I have an extravagant sexual appetite. So in that extravagance, I believe that I have to convince people and learn pickup and persuade, and I've got to do all of this stuff in order to fill. I mean, all of the 7 deadly sins, I don't even rightly know where the hell that came from. I don't know if it's in the Bible or if it's summarized from the Bible, or if it's just some weird Catholic thing. I was baptized Catholic, so I don't know, strange stuff from that space sometimes still hits my awareness as a reception point. But I don't even, I think I was exposed to it through the AA community. Yeah, because I was, doing too much. I was doing the 7 deadly sins about 10 years ago, and I think I got exposed to it from that. It was what it was. It was one of the old timers that handed me a list of these are the things that we all need to, us as addicts, we need to avoid, which I wouldn't call myself an addict now, because if I assign that to the truth of myself, then I'm going to be battling against it. And that's my whole point, is that we're not battling against an idea. You're not separate from the idea of yourself that represents the experiences that you want to have. Or the shorter way of saying that is you're not separate from all that you desire to be. The desire, the minute that you conceive of the desire, it is yours now. However, it's not a matter of, is the material 3D experience giving me validation and proof for me to permit myself to experience it? Because now we're asking questions, now we're placing conditions, and the more you place conditions on something, the farther away you're saying that it is from the immediacy of yourself. Because when God says, God spawns, that timeline is active, and that's all that's happening. So you decide your positioning, you decide who you are within that, you make a decision as to what your experiences are as a representation of that role. But the experiences are really, I would say that they're more emotional than they are representative, because everything that you see on the outside is, I call it a representative. It's a representative shell. It's a representative shell that you fill with the substance of yourself. Well, if the substance of yourself, if you want to see a representative shell of love, for instance, in the space of an SP, but the substance you have within yourself is low self-worth, lack, and hoping and wishing and praying, then assuming you even manifest an SP, which is very hard to, you're manifesting everything all the time. You are a manifestation. I mean, your whole life is a manifestation. This phone was a manifestation of a desire that you had in order to participate in telecommunications with other people. And it was so normalized to you that there probably was no resistance in you getting the phone. And thus we have then a manifestation. It's all a manifestation. You identified as somebody who has a phone that was normal for you to experience. You just made the decision that you were going to go get one, and you decided that that was done probably before the phone arrived in the mail or before you hit the phone shop. So everything's a manifestation, but if you want to manifest like the love of your life, yet the substance of your emotional state is fear, is anxiety, is I have this story where I always get abandoned and I always get cheated on, yet I want to see the representative shell of a person that loves me unconditionally, and I don't love myself unconditionally, and I don't align with the truth of unconditional love as a reality of my experience by way of my I am, yet I want the 3D to show it to me. Those two things are out of alignment. You're never going to see it that way. And should you, any SP that you do manifest is just going to be filled with the substance of you. You're seeing a feedback loop of yourself. What you're transmitting out and what you're receiving are in a one-to-one relationship. However, by the time you see something manifested, it is already dead, so you don't have to continue agreeing with it. That's why we unconditionally allow the circumstance to do what the circumstance is going to do. We allow it to be there for a temporary amount of time. You say this is here for a temporary amount of time. I'm not going to, this is already gone. I'm not going to agree with it. I don't need to do anything with it because it's dead, because it's done. So the only sin, you talk about the 7 deadly sins, all of those are sins of believing that there's something out there that I have to go get, and I'm doing that to some point of excess that's self-injurious to me and destructive to others. The only sin, I don't believe in Satan as a red man with a pitchfork. I think that, we're both the Christ, meaning the anointed one is what that translates to. We are both the anointed one, and we are both the anointed and the Satan at the same time, meaning that Satan is obsessive. We're taught this. I think the whole world is worshiping Satan, I think. That might be controversial to say, but I don't mean that, they're all like getting on their knees and getting in weird cloaks and like lighting candles and having seances. We worship Satan every time we believe that there's going to be a man on a podium who's going to save us from ourselves, who's going to fix the economy, who's going to do everything for us, who's going to give us a ton of stuff, and then we'll be saved. That's Satanism. That's what it means to, Satan. I think of Satanism as like material worship, but fine, because then I don't know, some like Church of Satan member is gonna, get on and be like, the first doctrine of the Anton LaVey Satanic Bible says, so I'm not talking about, religious Satanism. And I'm not saying anything about that being good or bad. I leave people alone. Think what you want to think. But what I am saying is that when we worship the material, when we think, or the external circumstance, whatever it might be, we think that there's something out there to get, that is when we fall out of alignment, out of harmony with the divinity of the all that is represented as an individualized expression through your freaking eyes. The dark and the light is in your eyes. However, you have to decide what the assignment is to yourself and to your experiences. Signing off of today's transmission of the Ministry of Assumption Absolute. My name is Lucine St. James. I am a divine embodiment coach, and I thank you again for co-creating this moment here with me. Until next time, remember to be good to yourselves and others, because everybody's just a version of you anyway.